Se ha visto cosas por ahí.
In the north, the winds howl in madness. They tear the land asunder. A doom long promised. The tribes of chaos gather beneath the 8-point star. At their head rides the ever-chosen. War comes. These are the end times.
Sí, señor. Muy guapo el trailer. O el vídeo. No se escucha. Buenas, Hikari. No se escucha esta gente. Están muteados. Esto se vio ya en su momento, ¿no? Problemas técnicos. Ah, ahora.
I have never had so many streaming tech issues in one day. Pretty much everything that could have broken did break today.
Yeah.
But we're here, we're live, just about alive. Welcome to the Archeon and Endgame scenarios update. Actually, I'm pretty glad we were muted because I've done a far
si acaso voy a
better intro
apuntar.
that time than I did last time.
Nice.
Maybe I'll do that each time. What you just got to see was the opening cinematic for when we are when you trigger the Chaos Invasion, right? Which is one of the 3 new Endgame scenarios. Each of them have a cinematic.
Yep.
I saw the Nagash one earlier. It is very themed on the trailer. I think it is like a lot of the trailer footage.
Yeah.
And then the Vermintide has its own as well. I thought we'd start off with this one, seeing as this is one we've shown on the What's Next. But before we get in, thank you everyone for coming along. I can see Twitch seems to have recovered itself. But otherwise, welcome Mitch.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be back.
Second week in a row. It didn't scare you off the first time.
Yeah. No, first stream was very good, so back for more.
Fantastic. Well, this stream we will
A
be
ver,
going
dice, a ver, toda
through.
fuerza arcade. Ajá.
Firstly, we'll be going through the end times updates, the end game updates.
Yeah.
I believe you were most involved with the Chaos one of these.
Yeah, so I did.
Está jugando con el Imperio, pero no tengo ni idea con
Chaos
quién.
one and the Vermintide. Yeah, and then we had Sean who did the Nagash one.
And we will work through trying to explain that together.
Yeah, there's a lot of complicated stuff within these, so lots to dig through.
And then we will also, after we've done that, we will then pop into Archeon,
Yeah.
where I've got to save about 70-ish turns in. We will show what it's like just to play him a little bit, but also the changes made to him, but also the main one being become the end game, right?
Yeah.
The cool new mechanic for him. So, what we've got here is something they have seen before,
Yeah.
but
repetiría.
maybe with less of an explanation than we had. You can kind of see already from the background.
Ah, creo que está jugando con Carlos Francisco, por cierto.
I think the disclaimer I put is for the end games, we just set it to turn 20 to trigger.
Yeah.
So they've all triggered, they look great. They will be a little bit wonky just because I think you probably have expected us to have conquered more of the map than a single province at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So you've kind of cheated. Well, not cheated because you can do this if you really want, but I think for a normal campaign, yeah, you're not going to be experiencing like the end games on turn 20. It's much more around. I think
Joder,
like
pues sí, es un
starting
sitio
around turn
cojonudo,
80,
¿no?
I think.
Yep.
So
So you can, though, move the slider.
You can.
You can, and that's what we did. So if this is your intended experience, if you're watching, and you've always wanted to, on turn 20, have to face the entire combined might of chaos,
Yeah.
you can do it. So we can see here, playing as Carl Franz, usually, obviously, we'd have
Hostia,
taken...
aparecen varios
the
sitios,
Empire,
loco.
by the
Madre
time this
mía.
is triggered. So the actual chaos invasion, how do you determine where it pops up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think should we talk like a bit more broadly about the end games first, and then we
Sure,
can.
sure. Yeah, go for the holistic, why have we changed it?
Yeah. So we had people are aware of this, but we had in Immortal Empires, we did have like end games. However, and I think this was the right decision at the time, when we were doing Immortal Empires, we were kind of aware of the fact that we had the old Chaos Invasion, but like the thing that we kept thinking at the time was, you know, in a world full of bad guys, right? Which you know, you could have like Scarbrand, you know, punching you in the face for your whole campaign. In like a world full of bad guys, how do you kind of do justice to like someone like Archeon, all the other, the other big bads, right, like Nagash or whatever. We didn't have Nagash at the time. So our kind of idea back in Immortal Empires was we'll just make like a plethora of different end games and not really go too deep into them.
Yeah.
But obviously we had a lot of feedback on those, so like much more different now.
No, está
is
hablando
our
del
philosophy
antiguo
for
y
the
mucho
end
del caos.
games,
Por eso no estoy diciendo
in
nada.
this project.
La imagen podría haber puesto
so,
prima de resolución, la
yeah.
verdad.
Essentially, end games, the
Pretty
end of a
cutre, ¿no?
campaign, it's a really hard thing to design for because the nature of like Total War is that it's like a power fantasy, right, to a large degree.
Yeah.
It's just the player's always going to be powerful towards the latter stages of their campaign, and bit of a history lesson here, right? But if you go back, this is not just a Warhammer thing. If you go back in Total War's history, we've tried to do like end games in like lots of different ways, lots of different times.
Mira, ahí te lo dice bien,
right?
bien.
You had the Realm Divide.
A mí me hizo
you had
acordar,
the Civil
ahí está
War
de
in
nuevo.
Rome 2. You had Attila like showing up in Attila, obviously, and so on.
Lo echa de menos.
Lots of different kinds of end games, always really hard to pull off. So the philosophy we've had for this one is there's always going to be some things which are true, which is that to challenge a player, you're going to have to spawn stuff into the world, provide challenge that way. But really what we wanted to do with the end games this time around was just make them kind of look and feel very different in terms of like, you're going to feel like this is an entirely different portion of your campaign when you kind of the end game begins. So the other thing to mention is we have kept the old end games from Immortal Empires. However, we've now called those the Crisis. So those will occur kind of earlier in your campaign, and the end games are now like the late stage stuff that can kind of occur towards the end.
Once we've gone through this, we'll go back to the front end and we'll show those off.
So yeah, here we are in the Archaon one. So as you said, we've got 3 of them. We've got the Chaos Invasion, we've got the Vermintide, which is Skaven, obviously, and then we've got the Great Ritual of Nagash, which is obviously Nagash. So I remember like literally the first day I sat down to write the design page for Archaon, the very first thing I wrote on the page was, in a world full of bad guys, when like Archaon shows up, he has to be like the most badass like than anyone we've ever done before, right? Because Archaon, although like this project, it's inspired by the end times, it's not us literally doing the end times. Nonetheless, like Archaon is Mr. End Times, right? So when he shows up, he has to be like the ultimate badass. So in that vein, when Archaon shows up, he is essentially invulnerable. You cannot defeat him when he shows up to begin with. And we do that with ward save. So his force, his military force, his army is
Lo DeLorean.
cannot defeat him to begin with. As he's begun his invasion of the world, the Chaos Gods have essentially like blessed him.
Aunque bueno, aunque ponga el 100% de salvación especial, no puede nunca ninguna unidad, en teoría, llegar siempre al 100%, el máximo es 90, aunque tengas más de 90%. Siempre va a hacerle daño, ¿no? Pero claro, si todo su ejército tiene 90% de salvación especial, pues ahí vámonos.
And he also spawns into the world with invasion fortresses. So the fortresses themselves will give a massive chunk of the ward save to Archaon, 10%. And then each of the armies will also give a small amount, 1% of the ward save to Archaon.
Nuevo escenario final del caos.
Right, is if you want to defeat Archaon, you've got to first whittle down his forces. You've got to survive against the hordes of chaos, and eventually, weaken Archaon enough that you can eventually hope to defeat him. So the other thing we've done, this panel, I really like this panel because each of the endgames has like unique mechanics and a different way that it works. When you've kind of seen the cutscene and you've got the intro, then you'll be greeted by one of these panels each time you start the end game, and it'll tell you what's unique. It'll tell you like how the gameplay is now different in your campaign, and it'll tell you how you've got to defeat the invasion. So as I just said, you've got to weaken Archaon before you can defeat him. And like the rules of the campaign sort of change in certain ways for each of the end games as well. So one of the big things for Archaon showing up is regions that are raised during the end game. They are permanently raised until the end game is over. So kind of as
está diciendo que los asentamientos que arrase los ejércitos de Archaon van a estar siempre arrasados hasta que los revientes.
You've got to kind of defeat Archaon or the world will meet its end. So the very rules of the campaign is sort of changing. The other big thing is one of the things that was like critical, I think, that again, the first thing I put on the design page was, we've done Endgames before. Now we're going to do them this time. Like, they have to look and feel like better than we've ever done before.
Yeah, it's got to be an upgraded experience.
It's got to be an upgrade, right? So a big part of that is like the look and the feel of the world when you're in like the Endgame mode. So if you close the panel, we can like have a look, and you can start to see. This is what we call devastation. So the world can now be devastated in kind of 3 different types of devastations. You've got the chaos devastation, you've got scathing devastation, and you've got the undead Nagash devastation. So there are certain different ways that the world can become devastated. In the case of Archaon, it's obviously regions being raised. So as more of the world gets raised, the provinces will start to look and feel different.
Yep.
Like the lighting of the campaign will change. The environment itself will kind of go, like, you see like a dark sort of orange almost, like the world is burning.
Está diciendo como el fin de los tiempos ya del caos, pues la niebla rojiza, todo ese rollo, ¿no?
Show this right here, but
cambia todo el mapa.
like kind of the look, the feel, and the sound of the campaign is going to differ as well.
They should be able to hear it, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we've got like different music tracks for each of the end games as well.
Que sí, la música también la he puesto antes, del principio, que era nueva música. Me alegro muchísimo que esté haciendo nueva música para el juego. Era ya bastante repetitivo.
Who will be kind of like, saying stuff to you and taunting you almost, and then you'll have the advisor who's telling you like how the world is faring and different lines like that.
I heard from the audio team that Archaon and Carl Franz, for the first time in ages, have got like 5 new hours of dialogue, either individually or together. So it's been a nice opportunity to come back and update some of that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
y también dicen que Chaol y Carl Francisco han recibido como un nuevo audio interesante.
And then like the UI itself, right? So we've got that little item on the left, which I know
el ordenador antiguo, muchas gracias por suscribirte, tío, se agradece un montonazo.
Aunque no sé por qué Twitch no lo ha dicho. Like, you're in a different mode of the campaign, right?
Luego, muchísimas gracias por apoyar.
The end game is like, here, I've got to like deal with this. This is a whole different like phase of my campaign. So yeah, the Archaon one, the Archaon Chaos Invasion, kind of each of the end games as well, we kind of imagined them having like a different difficulty curve, and you'll be able to see this on the front end again when we show it later. But yeah, the Chaos Invasion very much starts off like extremely hard, but over time, if you can just like withstand the forces of chaos, eventually you'll be making like headway, and it'll become like easier and easier over time until you can eventually defeat Archaon. So the other thing to mention is one of the big bits of feedback that we had from doing what we now call the Crisis, or the previous previous end games from Mortal Empires, was players were telling us that they wanted more narrative. The old kind of end games, they kind of came out of nowhere, right? You just got a pop-up saying, hey, here's this event.
Que dicen que quieren más historia, ¿no? En el fin de los tiempos.
The old Vermintide event, right?
That
popped up and just said, hey, this thing has happened. Good luck, deal with it. But yeah, players told us they want more narrative. So as you kind of saw, we've got an intro cinematic now for each one. We've got the narrative voice lines. We've got various events to pop up in the campaigns. And we've also got, you wouldn't have seen that because we've started here where the main event has begun, but we've also got like the foreshadowing events.
I think we have the one of that for Nagash to show as well.
Cool. So yeah, you'll get notifications like earlier on in your campaign that, hey, like Archaon has gone missing.
La barra roja
later in the campaign, you'll be told like, hey, he's probably like mustering his forces in the north.
Bueno, turno 20, ¿no?
You need to like prepare. So yeah, much more of like a narrative build up to these end games than the previous ones.
And also, so we'll see here that we're at war with Montfort from Baston, but now suddenly they're very interested in peace with us.
Yeah. So one of the things, again, like the mechanics, the world's, change. So all forces who are fighting against the end game they'll have like a relations bonus. So maybe like old enemies might be willing to make peace now. Maybe, your neutral faction next door will finally say, okay, let's have that trade agreement. We need a little bit of extra money here we're dealing with.
La barra de relaciones de un enemigo que esté más de la pantalla, de la mini pantalla esa.
Pretty much, I mean, Archaon shows up, right? Strength rank 1 at war with the world. Kind of what you expect,
It'd be an insight if it was strength rank 2, really.
Yeah, it would be. So yeah, like you can, different kind of rules to the campaign is going to start feeling very different. So yeah, kind of what you've got to deal with now is decide how you're going to deal with Archaon. You've got to go defeat his armies, defeat his fortresses. Eventually, you'll kind of weaken him enough where you can meet him on the campaign map. So you do have to defeat him at least once on the campaign map. Go destroy his army.
Tiene que reventar su ejército para debilitarlo, que eso ya lo sabemos también ya. Y cuando ya más o menos veas que tenga una salvación especial decente, pues lo intenta atacar, ¿no? Porque los derrotes una vez, se va al carajo ya la invasión.
You'll then have to go fight the massive endgame final battle, and that's where you can like ultimately defeat the endgame once and for all. And then after the endgame is over, you'll kind of lose, lose your benefits with diplomacy and stuff, because the world will start to go back to normal, like slowly but surely. All of the old devastation, as people like start to recolonize those regions, the devastation will start to fade away, the chaos corruption will go down.
Hostia, mi idea está potente, ¿eh? Como se nota que ahora es una facción jugable. Que tío estaban en Burgo, loco, muy bien.
They are at war with everyone, and so over here you can see they've moved more this way to go and fight enemies there. So it's less of, oh great, now every single army is going to come and beeline for my capital, and it is more there are these forces roaming the world and destroying it.
No, exactly. I mean, that was one of like the crucial things is we know like players don't like when the AI just targets only them.
Yeah.
So you're getting like a bad example of it here just because you outscored them on turn 20. But if you can imagine like, a turn 80 campaign or turn 60 campaign or wherever, the way that like the spawning works is, I mean, this like I could write a book on the design for like endgame scenarios. It's a really tricky thing to do, but you don't want to spawn the enemy too far away, otherwise you're just not going to be able to get there, right? You're not going to be able to deal with them. What fun is that? You don't want to spawn them right on your doorstep, because then it's just like a little bit unfair, right? So one of the things that we've really tried to do is kind of just get like a good balance there. So they'll spawn like a, far enough away that they're not right next to you.
Vamos, está diciendo que los ejércitos que aparecen no aparecen ni muy cerca a tu imperio, pero tampoco al quinto pino.
And if I was 80 more turns in, had all of my armies, I'd probably have come to meet at some of these choke points, right? But instead, I don't think Karl Franz has got much.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, this is one of the good things about the foreshadowing events is you kind of know, like, roughly when you need to start preparing. So that's where, you want to send an army to maybe Helmgart or something and, like, start to prepare your borders or whatever else.
And we can see the number of factions has dropped quite considerably. Is it the... Oh, and everyone wants to be friends. The provinces up in Norska then, are they confederated as part of Archaon's endgame?
Yeah, so a big thing with not only the Chaos
endgame,
but all of the endgames, apart from the Nagash one, because it wouldn't make sense, obviously, but when the Chaos invasion starts...
El 24 de septiembre.
All of Chaos band together, essentially. This is like Archaon.
¿Va a ser el que más jodido del juego? Pues ya ves.
The forces of Chaos.
Bueno, y aún falta por ver de los Skaven y el de Nagash.
Against the world. So all previous factions that are aligned with Chaos will all join forces into a single mega faction that is the Chaos Invasion faction.
Someone's saying as well, oh no, I wouldn't have normally taken the mountains, so they would always spawn there. Well, actually, I moved Archaon from Altdorf to Grunberg for a different save of this and did the same thing, and they didn't spawn there. They spawned over here.
Yeah, it's not a set spawning system every time, and it's not literally on your borders either.
Sí, la piedra negra es muy bestia.
It's essentially just a lot of complicated logic that decides where they should spawn based on the size of your empire and certain things like that, and it tries to spread out where the forces are. The other thing to mention, just because it's quite thematic, only like the fortresses in Archaon will spawn like in the middle of the world, again based on that spawning logic. The rest of the forces will all kind of spawn along the north and the south.
Kind of from, like, the Chaos Wastes. Mira, ahora hay dos, Gruni.
So that's kind of where the majority of the forces comes from, like north and south. And the other cool thing is if you have this on the left,
it does have the Vermintide one as well.
Yeah.
So slight
el tema de la invasión del caos, que eso también lo sabemos ya.
Like one of the bugs that we've just fixed today, but yeah,
essentially
you'll get like, a bunch of information for how the invasion is progressing. So in the case of like the Chaos one, you'll be able to see how many of his forces are remaining,
155 regiones
arrasadas. How much of the world has been destroyed, how many regions have been razed, and so on.
So was that 29%? A third of the world's gone already.
So yeah, a third of the world's gone already. You'll start to get like more events.
Ya ves, un 30%, y han aparecido hace 4 turnos. La hostia.
Asking you to kind of make tougher and tougher decisions.
Yeah. I knew this would be seen as us, like trolling them. It's just a random name. It's just called a random name.
Claro.
It's not. We're not doing anything here. Yeah. It's just because he spawned there last time. I was like, I hope I don't get that guy there this time.
Yeah, just a random name, unfortunately.
Sí, exactamente. La región no se puede recuperar hasta que revientes a Chaon.
So yeah,
Van a estar
this
siempre
is the
desoladas.
Chaos Invasion. Kind of like one of the more simplistic ones, but also like one of the tougher ones. As I said, we've got like the different difficulty curve for each, and this one starts off very difficult.
Do we want to go back to the front end?
Yeah, let's go there.
Cool. People also noticed on our last stream the some of the factions had like a little red flame next to them. Have we secretly added? No, it's just that we don't always use this PC.
Yes, you hadn't clicked on the new guy, right?
No.
Yeah.
So there's nothing new for Norska. Okay, look, it was sale the whole time.
It's just you didn't click on sale.
Anterior día esta gente hicieron.
So yeah, I think we talked about this briefly last time.
Sí, que ahora creo que lo dijeron antes y no me enteré muy bien. O sea, que ahora tenemos tanto eventos de crisis como eventos de fin de escenario. Vale.
Different options into various categories, clean it all up. So we've done that now. Looks much better. As I mentioned, the old Endgames we've now called Crisis.
Yep.
Crisis events, and we still got all of the options for those. We have naturally gotten rid of the Vermintide and the Nagash Crisis because obviously they've been supplanted now by the Endgame scenarios. For what it's worth, we did keep all of the file. I know this is a minor detail, but we kept all the files in the game.
Son desarrolladores, normal que bueno,
normal. Back on. Didn't really suit us, so we haven't done that, but it's all still there. So yeah, we've separated out
like, the
crisis events, and the endgame scenarios.
Cuidado.
So yeah, the endgame scenarios. This is kind of where you can change what you want to do. You can change the which ones trigger.
Me he unido a la herejía.
Yeah, the Vermintide, Ritual of Nagash. And as I mentioned, you can see kind of here where we've like essentially put like our assessment of what like the difficulty
para el momento,
¿no? So yeah, like I said, the Archaon one with Chaos Invasion starts off very hard, but the difficulty curve is actually kind of easy.
Ya, claro, porque en verdad la mayoría de la gente no juega en legendario. Creo que la mayoría juega en normal, o en difícil como mucho.
If you want to hover over that one. That one starts off kind of medium difficulty, but it kind of like persists.
Yep.
And then the Great Ritual of Nagash is again different, where it starts off kind of medium difficulty, but it will become much harder.
Yep.
The other thing to mention with these, you can change the maximum number. So the cool thing with the endgame scenarios,
sí, lo sé, lo de Lorian. Mañana va a ser.
Crazy, you can have them.
Mañana también hay directo para verlo.
We set the default value so only one appears, but if you want, you can set them to 3, and then you can have one of them each after each other.
So they chain.
Yeah, so they chain. You can't have them all appearing at the same time, only one endgame at once. But if you want, they can come after each other. And then we've changed the turn range as well, so it'll come a little bit after the crisis events, but again, fully customizable if you wanna do that.
You can do that if you want like an anarchy playthrough.
Yeah.
But also a new difficulty for them as well.
Yeah. So this one, full transparency. I don't think we're going to keep this.
Okay.
Again, this is like a work in progress.
No tan seguro de mantener eso último. Esta gente, ¿vale? No es, eso sí que es 100% seguro.
We did originally have like even more kind of difficulty sliders.
La dificultad
but the reality of these end games is because they're like so hyper specific. Having difficulty essentially settings didn't really work.
Yeah.
They kind of just they kind of are what they are.
Un buen guillo también.
So we're much more reliant on just what you set your difficulty setting as in the campaign in general.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're playing on legendary, naturally the end game is going to be more difficult than if you're playing on easy, right? So rather than putting kind of a little bit more customization here, we just wanted to make them a little bit more bespoke because it gives us a little bit more control over the experience, which ultimately for these I think is the route we wanted to go.
So we will very quickly pause for questions because there's been a lot of questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, so this is Archaon.
O sea, dificultad inicial muy difícil y después la curva de dificultad es fácil.
Any of the other chaos forces?
Lo del caos.
Yeah, so if you play as Archaon, this one won't work obviously because naturally Archaon is the Chaos Invasion. If you play as any other Chaos Aligned faction, that excludes the Chaos Dwarfs.
Yep.
But any other truly Chaos Aligned faction, you'll get the opportunity to join Archaon. You'll be given a dilemma.
Qué guapo.
Do you want to join Archaon's?
O sea, que si juegas contra una facción que del caos, que no sea enanos del caos, y no juegas con Archaon también, sino por ejemplo, yo que sé, estás jugando con Azazel, voy a poner un ejemplo, ¿no? Y aparece este fin de los tiempos, puedes unirte a Archaon si quieres. Creo que también lo dijeron en su momento, pero no me acuerdo. Pero está muy chulo.
That's really cool. I imagine a lot of people boot up Be'lakor and have a bit of a rivalry between the two.
Yeah. And then for the Skaven one.
El Skaven medio. El Skaven parece no va a ser muy tocho.
This one as well, but we've ultimately decided it's best that if you're playing as Skaven, again because the scenarios are so bespoke, if you're playing a Skaven, you can't get the Skaven Vermintide one.
How do so one of the questions we're seeing a lot of is how does this work with multiplayer?
Ah, qué puta. En ese caso, por ejemplo, los Skaven no. Si tú estás jugando con los Skaven, no va a haber evento final de Skaven o escenario final de Skaven.
Then obviously you can't have the endgame scenario for Chaos Invasion. So the rules don't differ between multiplayer and single player.
Imagina con Nagas pasa lo mismo, ¿no?
My friend is Archaon and I'm Be'lakor. Will it still give me the option?
Bueno, con Archaon, si tú juegas con Archaon tampoco. Pero si no juegas, pues juegas con otro del caos, que no sea enanos del caos y Archaon, sí va a pasar.
So if they're Sigvald and I'm Be'lakor, could one of us join and the other one not?
That's a good question. I think so. I think we.
Hostia, y por ejemplo, si estás jugando la partida multijugador y los dos sois facciones del caos, está diciendo que uno se puede unir a la facción de Archaon y el otro sí que no se puede unir, que hay también por elegir, ¿no? Eso está muy guapo.
The final battle. So again, it depends on the rules. So it depends on what endgame.
Además que llevarse mal bien, yo diría que a él no le importa llevarse mal o bien. Al fin y al cabo es poderosísimo. El que tiene más favores, por así decirlo, yo diría que es Arkan, porque es su principal seguidor. Y el que menos le gusta, no sabía decirte. Pero a él le importa un carajo. A él, mientras diga, tú estás bajo mi mando, mientras no me des por culo, revientas.
Okay. Let's move on to the next save. If there's anything else, Steve, in chat that you're seeing.
Cetra es el de los reyes funerarios. Ese fue el que se comió una paliza cuando Nagas revivió.
We could show the Vermintide, or if you would rather, we can show the Devastation. Yeah, show the Devastation. Why not? So yeah, this is to be clear, like just a debug save that I created for Josh, where I think I've blown up like half of the world essentially with the Devastation, just so we can go in and look at all.
A mí me ha flipado unas unidades como que son las gárgolas. ¿Las gárgolas? ¿Tú dices la de Nagas o de los vampiros?
Like, we wanted to make, as I said earlier, we wanted to make things like look and feel different. And in terms of like look, I think we've blown out even like my wildest expectations. Like as people will see.
A mí el Super Cañón Skaven creo que es mi favorito.
Yeah, I mean exactly. So
mira cómo se ve el mapa con la devastación de los Skaven. Qué guapo.
This is the Skaven Devastation. So as you can see, like warpstone everywhere, glowing green.
Esto es por la luna. Ya han reventado la luna en teoría.
The meteors kind of coming in from the background. So yeah, this is very Skaven. And yeah, it just looks so cool. You've got like crashed meteors that have blown up a mountain, right? Like it looks like so different. It's like essentially three entirely different like art sets for the entire map.
Yeah. Morgas creo que se llama la unidad,
so,
¿no?
Like I can't give like big enough props
ya después
to the campaign
el siguiente palabra que depende del arma que utiliza, pero no me acuerdo. Mira, se ven todos los meteoritos ahí al fondo cayendo de la luna. Está muy chulo. De Mosley. Está muy chulo.
Yeah, this is the Skaven one. And then if you go to the Southlands, so
it's in Nagash.
This is Nagash's kind of like, or more generally like the undead. So you've got like that turquoise glowing one.
No me mola que se separan entre las provincias, ¿no? Que se vea esta parte de aquí de las provincias separado, ¿no? No por qué.
You've got like these massive like.
Que es, hombre, esto sí me mola, las montañas me molan tela. Eso sí me mola, pero no me mola este camino que se están formando ahí entre las provincias, ¿no? Aquí se ve de puta madre. Ahí se ve de lujo. Se ve del carajo ahí. Pero los caminos que se forman por aquí, estos caminos de aquí no me gustan nada. No sé por qué se llama eso.
I've literally just flipped over the art here. I haven't done any. Like normally regions would be raised, armies would be dead, obviously.
Se necesitas para saber dónde se separa, pero si tú ya jugas bastante al Warhammer, más o menos sabes cómo acaban las provincias. Si es alguien nuevo lo puedo entender, pero mira cómo están los demás no se han visto eso. El del caos y el de los Scavengers no tienen ese mismo problema. Oh, bueno, mira, ya me he callado. Ahí tiene uno. Hostia, cómo queda este sitio, ¿no? El Blasky. La hostia, qué guapo. Y mira de los enanos. Hostia, está chulísimo esto, loco. ¿Cómo quedan las montañas de... Las montañas grises, creo que eran, ¿no? No creo que sea las montañas grises o fin del mundo, siempre confundo.
This is like part of what you can expect when the Endgames trigger and the world starts getting destroyed.
Fantastic. Then should we do Vermintide?
Yeah, sure.
Entonces, ahora vamos a hacer el Endgame de Vermintide.
Over in Lustria because we wanted to show.
Good. Me cago en la hostia, YouTube, no me jodas. ¿Ya empezamos ya? No, pues creo que es el directo, porque esto no avanza. Es el directo de ellos. A ver que vea. A ver, quita esto que me da. Porque ahora, claro, aquí no tengo ni idea cómo se pone el de esto de... A ver... Sí, es ellos. El chat de ellos está diciendo que... Caput.
I set this one over in Lustria because we wanted to show how...
Y aquí es cuando... Ah, ahora han vuelto, vale.
Yeah. Hold on.
Are we live? No, we're not.
It thinks we are. But that doesn't. Oh, no, we aren't.
Me alegra que el oráculo de que los hombres lagartos absorbieron todos los meteoritos.
Okay.
Ah, ¿sí? Yo no me acuerdo de eso ya.
Okay. I think all they missed really was a loading screen. So, we should be fine. So this is the Vermintide.
Yeah.
As you can see, everything's going perfectly fine. It's again another where we've just ended turn 20 times.
Yeah.
But I grabbed its hero because we want to see over there. Right.
Bueno, a ver, el escenario de las alimañas, de los Scavengers.
Do we want to show all the cutscenes?
We can.
Oh, let me look and see if someone says we want to see all the cutscenes. And if I see that before the end game, the end term thing happens, then I will mute us and they can watch the cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want spoilers, close your eyes.
All I'm seeing is yes. All right, I'm going to mute us and someone's got.
Bueno, ahora hay cinemática del fin de los tiempos de los Scavengers.
Because I'm definitely going to forget.
Across every land, its toll resounds. The dreadful peal of inevitability. Skaven lurk in the depths. They await its final clangor. 13
¿Pero no hay sonido ni música?
13 moons the horned one has waited.
O sea, cuando digo sonido, ambiente.
To coalesce and drown the surface in ruin. So goes the death knell. For the end of the world. Doom. Doom. Doom.
Vale.
There we go.
Pero pierde muchísimo sin sonido, ¿no? Comparado con el de Archao.
As you can all see.
El dato cordura no, ese es, no me acuerdo cuál sea el personaje, pero ese era el que iba con Thankful todo el rato.
Kind of unique,
se puede decir que es la encarnación de la rata cornuda.
No music.
Una encarnación.
That might be one of the so those cutscenes are going to have music. I don't know if that one did because we
Pero
couldn't hear it, but,
nerfeada.
each of them is going to have music if that one didn't. So yeah, here we are in the Vermintide one. Again, this is kind of completely unique mechanics.
A ver.
But like the Chaos one, as I mentioned, the way the Skaven one works is again all Skaven band together. And this is like the Vermintide. This is the Great Ascendancy. This is kind of the Horned Rat saying to Skaven, "Okay, work together, guys. This is kind of where I really want you to go out and like take the surface world essentially." So yeah, this endgame.
A ver, todos los que se unen bajo el estandarte de Skitch Vermintide, que ese es el bicho que tú has dicho antes, los DeLorean.
Yeah, one of the big things about the Vermintide is that
Todos los personajes del territorio se unen
this
al
is them
Vermintide
saying,
de Great
the
Ascendant.
surface world is ours, we're going to take it. So all Vermintide
Todos los
settlements
asentamientos
are
de
always
Caves son
visible,
visibles.
and they have undercities, we'll talk about those more, and those are always visible as well. Much like the other one, or the other Chaos, and then the Gash one.
Y siempre están spawneando ejércitos.
The Vermintide have a diplomacy bonus, so you can make more alliances and stuff.
Y cuanto más grandes asentamientos, más ejércitos habrá, ¿no?
The Vermintide one functions kind of like half like a normal faction, but half unique gameplay. So,
y las ciudades subterráneas siempre van a ser visibles y se expanderán rápido. O rápidamente. Cuanto más tiempo existan,
they have essentially like a unique under empire which spreads like very rapidly.
Que van a quitar la economía, ¿no? Del asentamiento en teoría.
One of the ways that, the way that you're going to have to kind of work to defeat the Vermintide is they've got
y todas las facciones que estén en contra del Vermintide por recibir mejoras diplomáticas.
And find out where you can go and fight this final
Mientras siga el fin de los
scavens. And to do that, you need to gain war plan knowledge. And to gain war plan knowledge, you need to fight against their forces. So you can imagine, like, you kind of kill an army, capture
y para eso, bueno, tienes que reventar ejército, igual que el de Achaun, por ahora.
And you know, you can gain more and more knowledge about what
para revelar planes, o sus planes, ¿no?
So yeah, if we close this and then hover that, so you can see. Again, the Vermintide, they're trying to occupy the world. They're not like
ejércitos.
They want to own the world.
Dios, 165.000 ratas la hostia.
Number of rats. I thought that was just.
That is fun.
Dulfer detonadas, madre mía.
Like roughly, so you can kind of see how many rats.
O sea, tienes que reventar ratas y cada ejército que reviente, más probabilidad de que sepan los planes, ¿no? Hostia, pero vaya ejército de mierda, ¿no?
The way the Vermintide spawning works, it is they do spawn all across the world, and they spawn in like thematic places. So you're like obviously the altar of the Horned Rat, Skaven Blight, Hell Pit, Crookback Mountain.
And I believe we can see Skaven Blight.
Yeah, so you can see. Yeah, there you go. So you can see some of like the core locations, and you can see they spawned like lots of like.
Espera, es un nuevo señor, ¿no?
So at like really critical locations all across the world, these become like the hubs for the Skaven. This is where they really.
O ese Screech que le han cambiado el nombre. Creo que le han cambiado el nombre, ¿verdad? Ese Screech que le han cambiado el nombre.
So if you go to their settlement first, actually, so their settlements are like much more simplistic. So they're
no, como estoy viendo, los asentamientos caben son más simples.
Work in progress text and all that, but their buildings are much more simplistic. They essentially allow like chance based to both like spawn armies essentially and spread the Under Empire, and then the more
vale, que son Vermintide. Coño, no me acordaba.
Extra building.
This one.
Yeah. So you can see the more armies that they build in their settlements, so the more a settlement grows over time.
Y encima cuando cada edificio da más guarnición y más probabilidad de que aparezca un ejército. Madre mía.
As the Vermintide is spreading, you really want to like act fast and act proactively and like.
Sí, o sea que tienes que ir a toda hostia, cargarte ejércitos y ciudades, porque si no estás jodido.
And then if you go back to their settlement, so here we've got their unique Under Empire.
Yep.
So their Under Empire spawns and it spawns rapidly, and you
cannot. Es la ciudad subterránea.
So there's a bunch of like new kind of systems in the game now, as part of the end game, to deal with the Under Empire, because this is kind of one of their major threats to you.
Esto creo que sería suyo jugarlo con un compañero, tío, el de los Skaven. Vas todos con enanos y empiezas a reventar Skaven por todos lados. Único malo sería Lustria.
The longer it kind of persists there, the more it's going to start like sapping the wealth of your region. So again, you're going to have to make some like really difficult choices about what you're going to do with the Skaven. So if you go back to one of your settlements, just anyone, and then you open up building browser, and then scroll to the right, so you can kind of see here, there's now, and this will only be present during the end game. So this is kind of where like
defensa contra las alimañas, ¿no?
Earlier, like, it's not just about like challenging the player. It's about like novelty. I want to like give the players something.
Qué guapo, me gusta.
So one of those things is you get like an entire different like, building chain. And this building chain is one of the things that you can utilize to deal with the Vermintide. So like the one you just hovered over, right, is well placed explosive. Yeah. So because the under empire for the Vermintide, like I can't stress enough, it is like one of the like main essentially like sources of power. Like it's going to be really tough to deal with, so you're going to have to make like tough choices.
Scorched earth effect.
Essentially, scorched earth tactics is something you really might want to consider. So if you might want to consider maybe blowing up your like border provinces, or maybe you've got like an ally on your border. Maybe take their region and blow it up, just so you've got like this sort of scorched earth border, because like the Vermintide is going to be spreading, and it's going to be spreading fast, and you want to kind of like essentially like hold on as long as possible against the millions and millions.
Mira, eso no te permite hacer ciudad subterránea en la región.
War plans long enough so that you can eventually
no, en esa provincia. Vale. Muy chulo también.
The one on the right is like a raid on the Undercity, so you can use this to like essentially raid the Undercity. It'll get rid of like the Under Empire that's nearby, but it'll spawn a Vermintide army that will cause you problems.
Prefiero el otro, la verdad.
So yeah, there's kind of, again, unique stuff that you can deal with.
Revienta la ciudad subterránea, pero spawnea un ejército. A ver, también depende de qué ejército, ¿no?
Endgames is unique gameplay to kind of give you a little bit of novelty.
Sí, la verdad es que tanto esta actualización como este DLC se están poniendo las botas.
One thing we haven't mentioned yet is the Devastation is not just a campaign map visual. There are Devastation battle maps. So if you're fighting on a devastated, so this I imagine will soon become devastated. You'll be fighting on a brand new battle map.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Qué bien. Los mapas también cambian, los mapas de batalla. Menos mal, loco.
Types have brand new battle maps.
Los mapas de batalla, si estás jugando, o bueno, si vas a hacer una batalla en un territorio que está devastado, pues también cambia el mapa, en teoría, a esa devastación.
I've got a save that Neferata has attacked me 9 times out of 10 when I end turn on a devastated province, so we'll cross our fingers.
And the other thing to mention, this is a good reminder actually on the battle maps.
La crisis de los cables normal fue borrada, ni idea, no me enteré de eso.
Well, I guess not bring back, but put the what's the word I'm looking for there?
Me imagino que sí, pero no estoy 100% seguro.
The Realms of Chaos, the Realms of Chaos battle maps into Immortal Empires in some way. So we've actually done that now as part of the Chaos Invasion endgame. So essentially, because all of the various armies in the Chaos Invasion are themed on the gods, depending on like the corruption in the world. So if a province is really like corn corrupted, you'll be able to fight like the corn Realms of Chaos maps while the Chaos Invasion is ongoing. So yeah, you're going to be getting a whole host of new battle maps, especially like I said, those old ones coming back as well. So it all goes into like, look, feel.
Lo que pasa es que de los Skaven,
lo
que tengo yo es que tienes que reventarlo todo, sí o sí. Como no revientes todo, creo que el fin o la crisis esta no acaba nunca. Bueno, la crisis, el escenario, mejor dicho, el final no acaba nunca. Entonces tienes que ir tanto a Lustria, tienes que ir tanto a Katai, si empieza por ejemplo el Imperio, está un pelín lejillo.
Pain in the ass.
A no ser que el plan ese,
and so one of the things that they can do is
o llegar 100%, hace que sea una batalla final.
And they can put a Doom Sphere into that slot. So again, you just want to deal with Skaven as fast as possible when they kind of arrive in your territory. You're going to need to make those harsh decisions, because if you let them just exist long enough,
una batalla final, vale. A ver.
You're going to have big problems.
And that will then culminate again
allowing you to face crisis. Va, mira, sí, aquí está, sí.
Final battle for the Vermintide as well.
Vale, menos mal.
But yeah, you'll find out what their grand plan is once you get enough knowledge of their war plans.
Por cierto, el tercer arcane ese es nuevo. Ese ejército libre. Nunca lo he visto yo, por lo menos.
I think, was it a YouTube video of where someone detonated a Doom Sphere under every single settlement in one turn to win the game? Maybe that's the grand plan.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then, shall we?
Y tampoco sé qué coño es ese símbolo del libro.
Although.
Creo que es el de Nagash. No me extraña que eso sepa conseguir de Nagash.
So we can actually start off with this one, which will have one of the forewarnings you were talking about. So I think this is 10 turns before the crisis spawns.
Yeah, so each of them has foreshadowing events.
El problema es que no sabemos cómo reventando ejércitos.
Also kind of like let you prepare
si quieres saber los planes, tienes que reventar ejércitos de los Skaven.
So you know that, if you start getting the foreshadowings for Nagash, right, you know you need to...
No sé si reventando también ciudades contará, pero han dicho solamente ejércitos. O al menos me he enterado yo que solamente ejércitos.
Yep. Is there any devastation outside of the endgame scenarios?
Yeah, there are. In kind of like certain situations. So I won't talk too much about the Skaven part of this DLC, but yeah, there'll be the Skaven devastation as part of that. If you're Nagash, obviously you can get
y si activo ese Skaven y es una facción Skaven que está roto, no puedes. Si juego con los Skaven no se puede activar el endgame de los Skaven.
Devastation, and equally so when we talk about Archaon later, we'll talk a little bit more about.
Lo mismo que si juego con Archaon no puede activar el endgame del
I think
caos.
This is the second foreshadowing. So it'll tell you like a little bit, a bit of flavor, right, about what's going on in the world, and then you'll also, understand like what's starting to change about the world. So in this case, all of Nagash's Mortarks are removed from the campaign map.
Yep.
Because they form a big part of the Nagash endgame.
And a lot of this endgame stuff came towards the more tail end development, right?
Sí, exactamente, lo de Lorien. Eso sí es lo guapo.
Before we implemented an endgame, similar thing with Skaven, and that's why there's 2 R's and disappeared. But we will fix that.
Yeah.
I will jump on over to the actual endgame.
Cool.
And thanks to Will, who was the person who did a lot of my all of the Alpha Strike gameplay, because Will went and got all of these saves for me yesterday for the endgame triggering. Because it turns out sitting there pressing end turn 20 times actually doesn't just take 5 minutes. It's a decent chunk of time. So we'll show this off, and then we will jump over to Archaon, where we are playing as Archaon.
Después de esto veremos el gameplay de Archaon, o de Archaon, mejor dicho.
We can do that now, or we can do that after Nagash.
Yeah, it'll be a nice break after Nagash.
Okay, so I've just got to end turn.
Yeah. We're gonna let them watch the.
I think we will, and we'll hope we'll see if the music's in. I think this one's very drawn from the announced cinematic.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot of stuff you guys have seen.
Es verdad, me pregunto si harán algo con Azag. Creo que no, ¿verdad?
Right.
Es una pena.
Everyone remember that I've muted us.
Deberían hacer algo con Azag. Bueno, en teoría hay crisis ahora. A ver, porque han quitado, a ver. Por acá.
The sands of Nehekara shudder. What little life remains is consumed. The undead legions rise, their souls enthralled to the Master's call. All who hear his silent command must answer, powerless before its irresistible pull.
Luz o algo siempre con aura, me cago en la hostia.
Nagash, supreme lord of undeath, has returned. In death, all shall serve.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
we're back.
We should be back. And we have the great ritual of Nagash.
We do.
Allá aquí tenemos el gran ritual de Nagash.
So yeah, Perfecto. Nagash. Also, we just say there will be a picture here. When it's faded to black here, there will eventually be a picture.
Habrá una foto ahí,
So yeah, Nagash, this is the third and final one. And yeah, this one, as we kind of said on the front end, this one kind of starts off medium difficulty, but increases to potentially very hard.
A ver, Nagash es mortal, lidera la legión de los muertos. La provincia con la mitad o más de las regiones. Vale. Las provincias de las cuales la mitad o más de lo que hay han sido capturadas por Nagash. No, que son capturadas por Nagash serán devastadas. Joder. Debemos ni mirarlo. Mira, mira.
This is him saying, putting his hands together with his bones, I guess, putting his bones together.
Le han cambiado sitio ahora.
Okay, this is me. I'm about to really kick off now and do some crazy stuff. So you can kind of see first of all, the Black Pyramid, it's on the move.
Yep.
And it's going somewhere.
That's not a bug.
Ah, que se está moviendo.
It's supposed to be going somewhere.
Pues se está moviendo, que se cambia de sitio. En siguiente turno.
Part of his great ritual. It's heading to Nagashizar. And it's going to take, again, you're going to...
no, vea, no hay cosas aquí, loco.
Stuff, but you're going to be able to see here that...
Me jode un pelín que hayan puesto el símbolo del caos. Te podrían haber puesto el de Nagash. El de los Kaven no me fijé si tenía el símbolo de los Kaven. Imagino que sí. No, o sea que no.
He has a power level. So his power level, it's based on a bunch of different things. It's based on his number of armies, number of settlements, number of mortars.
Espero que sea War in Progress.
And yeah, various other things like from the.
Dice la pirámide llegará en 20 turnos. ¿Pero dónde?
Like a total power level. And based on that total power level, essentially when it gets the pyramid.
Ah, si está el símbolo de Kaven. Ah, pues mira, entonces sí. Yo entonces que ahí pondrán algún símbolo algo.
And the final battle will be available at that point, straight away. So.
Sí, de nuevo conocimiento. El conocimiento con Nagash no me mola tanto. Oh, bueno, conocimiento, ¿no? No es planes, sino conocimiento. Bueno, sí, conocimiento, sí.
That battle's going to be real brutal. So what you're essentially going to want to be doing.
Ah, Nagashizar va. A ver.
It's not lowering, but just like try and maintain his power level as much as possible. You do not want.
Ah, mira, hacia Nagashizar, sí. Va a la primera negra, sí. Cada turno en preparación por el gran ritual de Nagash. Una vez que llegue la gran ritual, we begin. Ah, y una vez que llegue la pirámide en Nagashizar, habrá una misión de. Una misión. Una batalla de aventura, ¿no? Tocha. Vale, vale. No, van a Nagashizar, van a Nagashizar. Va a hacer su ritual ahí.
You're going to see the Black Pyramid on its way. It's going to be moving towards Nagashizar until it eventually gets there.
We can have one turn in movement.
Sure, why not?
But also, so someone was saying, oh no, have I got to immediately run over to here to be able to do anything? But no, the point being that there are more tucks all around, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, kind of, I mean, this is true for all of the Endgames, as I said earlier.
Nagashizar está donde empieza Imbric, el elfo de los dragones. O más o menos también donde empiezan los enanos del caos. Al sur de los enanos del caos. Empieza.
Same for the Chaos one. So, how each of the Endgames
por la cara. Ahí es donde está más o
they
menos.
all kind of do essentially some like, you know, complex, clever logic behind the scenes.
Es un sitio también donde hay una facción Skaven que está muy cheta ya desde el principio. Y tres estaría al norte de Nagashizar, sí.
So you'll have forces of
Pero va cerca está Henry.
some of his Mortarks and stuff in your
Uga también está cerca, sí.
So you'll be able to
sería a la derecha o a la izquierda. No, donde está Nagashizar sería para la derecha.
Want to make a real proactive effort, you can then obviously head to the Black Pyramid where you know things are going to kick off. And this again
que si quitara a este hombre, pues lo diríamos más o menos en el mapa aquí.
Is so that you can start to make like some strategic decisions earlier on in your campaign because you know things are about to get crazy.
Yep. And the I was going to say something.
Asumo que si no matas ni un Mortaka, entonces lo van a reforzar como 7 ejércitos. Ni idea.
No, it's gone.
It'll come back.
But yes,
como tampoco he visto aún el evento entero de este hombre, pues no sabría decirte. Tendría sentido que tendrías que matar a los, bueno, eliminar a los Mortarkas, ¿no? Para que la batalla fuera más fácil.
The other big thing, actually, that I've not mentioned, this is kind of a critical piece that I haven't mentioned. One of the things that's going to happen when Nagash gets to Nagashizar is he's going to be starting to do his great ritual, and every turn, again, depending on his power level, he's going to start destroying parts of the world.
Hostias, cuando la piel negra llega a Nagashizar, Naga empieza el ritual y cada turno que pase, el mundo se irá al carajo. Poco a poco. Se irán destruyendo ciudades aleatoriamente. Hostias, o sea, cuanto antes haga para el ritual mejor. Y no se va a ir medio mundo al carajo.
Are going to start getting destroyed by Nagash completely at random throughout the world, while he's in Nagashizar doing his ritual. So again, you've got those 20 turns to prepare, and then you're going to want to destroy him as
ahí está Nagashizar. Un pelín abajo está, un pelín abajo. Que no lo está poniendo aquí. Está por aquí. Ahí abajo está.
As to why it starts off medium difficulty and then ramps up into very hard is because the longer you wait, the more of the world that's going to start getting destroyed. So.
Yeah, so to clarify that then, it's not at 20 turns, you've got to go and fight that battle.
No.
It's 20 turns is when that's available, and it's how long you want to risk waiting versus building your own power.
Exactly.
Cool. Can I use the changeling to teleport the black? What happens if the changeling teleports the Black Pyramid away?
So the Black Pyramid isn't actually an army here. It's just a representation of the Black Pyramid. So
si eres un no muerto podrás rebelar contra Gao. Si eres no muerto no podrás. No, por desgracia no pusieron el tema de Nagash en el fin de los tiempos. O no me fijé. Tendría que reiniciarlo. Así que ahí no sabía decirte, Uriel. Si puedes o no.
Right. What do you mean?
If he does that, what happens when the endgame? Does the Black Pyramid just come back to here to start off for its trip? Where does the changeling move the Black Pyramid to? Someone will remind me. But it's a very minor point.
Okay.
It's more of a. I imagine it will just come back here and start on its trail again. There was another question. Can you, as the Archaon endgame, fight one of the other endgames?
Can you?
If you are Archaon, you trigger your endgame.
Right.
And then the Nagash one starts.
Oh, I see. So, well, we'll cover Archaon in a bit when we switch to him. But yeah, you will be able to experience the other endgames if you're Archaon. So similarly, if you play as a Skaven, you can't get the Vermintide, but you can get the Chaos and the Nagash one, right? So those are the rules I mentioned.
Cool.
Bueno, no he dicho nada de los no muertos. Yo creo que a lo mejor sí podrás también.
Then I think if we want to do a quick pause for you to answer some of the questions from stuff that came up on last stream.
Yeah.
While I boot up Archaon.
Yeah. So yeah,
well,
there's a couple of things that I'd mention in this stream just because we talked about them in the last stream. So some cool things. And also I thought important to mention here because they were like based on last stream in some cases.
Yeah.
So one of the things we talked about last time, because we covered Neferata, was Ulrika, right? Are we going to do Ulrika for Neferata? My answer last time was we were in the midst of finding out. We were going to go check with...
está hablando Ulrika sobre si puede estar con Neferata.
Good news. We're going to do Ulrika for Neferata.
Oh, Ulrika puede estar con Neferata.
They liked the idea. We liked the idea. We did.
Perfecto.
So yeah, Ulrika is now accessible for Neferata as part of her... Similar to how the rest of the legendary heroes work for vampire counts, in Neferata's tech tree, you can get Ulrika as a legendary hero. So that makes her campaign even cooler.
En su tecnología.
The other thing I mentioned, just because this was based on, I saw this on Reddit based on the stream last time. So I'll give credit as well to who this was. Critical Hold, his name was on Reddit. Good job, you. You made a thread based on the background traits for characters as they come out of the layers. So this was something I thought about earlier in the project, and I wasn't really happy with it, but it was just really difficult to fix. Where essentially the issue was, if you make a lord from a vampire lair, they had a random background trait, and there's no really nice way to fix that as part of layers, unfortunately.
Yep.
But I saw this guy's thread, and I was like, god damn it, I really want to fix this. So I was thinking of ideas over the weekend, and I did come up with a solution. So I've added something to vampire counts now where it's a new item. I think it's like a lexicon of unlearning is what I called it. And if you equip this item on a lord, it'll re-roll their background trait, which is pretty cool. So not something we've done before. But yeah, that's a really, I don't know if it's elegant or not, but I mean, I like the solution. So it'll let you get whatever background trait you want if you're willing to use these items. Another thing, I saw this on the forums, was people really wanted Tomb Guard for Neferata as one of the Tomb King units. So I did that as well, added Tomb Guard. The cool thing about this, I give you a max of 10 Tomb Guards, so
perfecto.
You can actually get now...
Ahora Neferata puede tener...
19 Tomb King units.
Guardia de los Tumulares, ¿no? Creo que era.
It's a full army now of Tomb King units, so that's kind of nice.
Tomb Guard era Guardia de los Tumulares,
¿no?
¿no?
I kind of must have missed this when I was reading about Neferata.
No, creo que era de Sepulcro. No, Tomb Guard era de los vampiros, sí.
The other thing I want to mention, this isn't necessarily good news, but I just want to mention it because it was such a massive thing from the stream. But the Ghoul King, essentially players want us to make him a hero. Yeah. So I just want to mention that we have seen that feedback. It's too late to do something at that point. That would be like a pretty major change for this point in the project. But because we did see so much feedback on that, I just want to mention that it has been noted, it has been recorded.
I think part of that complication as well is not even just our side, but a DLC being sold with a certain content in a certain way. Changing that content has its own ramifications, so there'd be discussions there if that did then try and move forward.
So yeah, I think what I would say on that is we've not explored that yet, but I think maybe that is possibly something.
Lo de Nucleo es que agachamos a Confederata en Vulcan seguramente.
Again, we've not even begun that yet, so like the main point is
no, porque no, seguramente no, que es la Confederación, sí.
That we're listening on that point.
Achón creo que podía confederarse a todo el mundo.
Wanted to cover off, but yeah, here we are.
So
Del caos, quiero decir, ¿vale?
this is my Archaon save, and you know it's my Archaon save because I can click on anyone, and you can see I have forgotten to equip any items.
Yeah.
But the first thing to show off is Confederation.
Well, what you just showed off, I
yes.
suppose. Yeah. So yeah, a big thing. This is kind of weird because this is such like an enormous thing, but we can essentially just say it in like one bullet point. But it's like I've not played an Archaon campaign yet since we've done this, so this probably will be my first campaign actually when we release. But you can now as Archaon confederate all chaos.
Que eso también lo dije en su momento, que ahora puedes confederar a todo el mundo con Archaon.
And all
Del caos.
warriors of chaos. So
Los guerreros del
you
caos.
get everyone.
Y demonios.
You get everyone. Like I said, that's just a
Creo que en
single
Oscar no
point,
puedes,
but, you know,
creo.
I'm sure players will understand just how immense that is. You can get like literally every single character.
And the way it works is you can either go beat up the faction leader.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that, I highly recommend taking the Dark Fortress first. Because I did do that,
claro.
and then I learned the hard way. I'm going to have to pay this person a lot of money to get this settlement back. So
yeah.
I recommend taking the Dark Fortress and then beating up the leader. So I took
So, yeah, it's like you said, it's essentially like the
básicamente, si te voy a confederar al estilo orco Norska antiguo. Revientas al señor y creo que hay un evento y dice, venga, me lo confedero. Y listo. Lo que pasa es que sus territorios son de la IA, no son tuyos. Como os habéis visto ahí. Que la fortaleza negra, pues lo tenía la IA, no tú.
At that point, you'll get a dilemma as well. Or not, like maybe not immediately, but
Chabón puede reclutar todas las unidades caóticas, sí, siempre ha podido.
Siempre ha podido, Hey, do you want to fight this guy? And if you're willing to fight that guy, then you can again bring him into your faction. And
sí, básicamente,
so that's the second way you can get.
Yeah, because I did not go all the way to Cathay to get Dakala. Dakala was defeated. I got the opportunity to fight Dakala in one final battle and then vassalize them.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice way to have, like I've tried to have a Tzeentch army and a Khorne army, and I didn't get to a Slaanesh army yet because I am poor, which is always how I play Total War. Okay, so that's the first big difference with Archaon, right? Is the ability to get all of these vassals, and they combine into, Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, all their own specific vassals.
Mega DeLorean, tío, muchas gracias por aparecer y por esa suscripción.
Not a member of Chaos, but a temporary friend of Archaon. But then the second part of this is the victory condition, right? So once you have completed the short victory condition, which you can see, I could have done this in 50 turns, but actually the one that it took...
No está mal la victoria de Archaon, No está nada mal. Esos son los objetos, mantener 80 unidades, alcanzar nivel 40, obtener 8 fortalezas oscuras.
So, where is it? There you go, like the Black Cleaver. We can still get this quest here. You will spot it in Archaon's army. I still have the chieftains that were available at the time. I don't think I can get more chieftains, so that might be something you want to consider of when you want to fight Tarmukhan, but... you are going to have an insane number of characters and heroes to pick from as Archaon now.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So, the short campaign victory. You can see I've left it just to recruit 2 units. But the...
confederarte 4
peña, ¿no? New rewards. We're going to have a lot of Chaos Knights, and what we're going to do is we're just going to recruit 2 units. I know...
¿Qué ponía? ¿Capacidad de caballeros del caos?
That's my Kairos Fate Weaver has given me a heads up.
Alright.
So we're not going to do too much of this because I have other saves where I've lost less. This isn't the ideal place for me to have been.
Pero a lo mejor son los de renombre.
As you can see, there is an incredibly strong Carl. I'm not even the strongest guy on the map.
Yeah.
La hostia, Carl Francisco está a tope, ¿no? Siguiente.
Alright.
Nomás si tienes aquí y todo.
The other thing we can mention, something else. While this end turn is going on. But yeah, we've also made a change to Archaon's warband system so that he could get some of the units that he couldn't previously get. So I'm just going to check because I don't want to get this wrong. But yeah, I think it's Wrathmongers and Skull Reapers.
Yeah, we can flash that up as well.
Yeah, so we've added those to the warband system now so that he can get those units.
I saw a question a couple of times about Archon the Black, if there's been any changes. I believe there haven't been a widespread number of changes to Archon the Black, simply because the scale of everything else that's been happening.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like, we'll talk about this, but yeah, no changes to Archon really, or Tomb Kings, other than a couple of units, right?
And the changes to the books themselves.
Yeah, and the books of Nagash, yeah.
So, 2 choices. I can keep playing as I enjoy, or I can become the Endgame Crisis.
Yeah, so you can become the Endgame.
Entonces me confundí.
Yeah,
y porque parecía entonces que si juegas con H no puede ser tú.
Pero
claro, no parecía ese crisis, ¿no? Ese evento final, ese escenario final. Pero pero si juegas con H puede ser tú.
From now on,
el Endgame. Qué guapo.
That you take, you'll have to raise, and you raise them permanently. So kind of again like how the Endgame itself works. So
solo puedes arrasar en teoría, ¿no?
From this point forward,
y sacar o arrasar, como si fuera el Warhammer 1.
And again, this is optional. You don't have to go this path, but this is allowing you to like live out the fantasy of being the true kind of Archaon, the ever chosen destroyer of the world.
Yep, and it is worth noting you want to really choose when you trigger that with the when you want to decide to finish off your short victory, because you can't.
Qué guapo. Entonces cuando hace la victoria corta es cuando puede hacer que Archaon sea como el fin de los tiempos, ¿no? El evento del fin de los tiempos.
You want to make sure you're in a strong position when you begin being the endgame. Maybe not next to the number 1 and number 2 most strong faction in the game. With Archaon stuck fighting Neferata. But we're going to load into once I have taken a few more provinces. So we've got a little bit of devastation going, and then we will be able to show one of the devastated maps. This is the last stream we're doing on kind of the update content. So after this, we'll be starting off running through the 4 Lords of the End Times. I think the first of those next week will be Glockin.
Cool.
So we'll maybe dial someone in from Sophia.
Hey, Capitán Buazo, por ahora bien.
There is more. There's a whole lot more.
Los eventos finales o las campañas finales se están viendo bastante bien.
Obviously, we said that there were some changes. Sigvald becoming a Slaanesh champion. Changes to the Slaanesh tech tree. Building tree. To be more in line with what we'd spoken about last time.
En la neve cambiar los edificios. Interesante.
And also, like, all of the battles at the end of all of those endgames you saw, there are so many little things that have been changed. I think like items. Was it items for Cetra? There's loads and loads of little stuff that's been added in. We're not going to have time to explore it all. But just know
más cosas, no me
to kill me with those agents. Just know there is loads in there to be looking at. So, devastation triggers once you've destroyed over half the settlements in the province, right?
Yeah.
Luckily.
You're prepared.
I am prepared.
La nota de patch 9.0 en la Biblia, tela. Y me da una pereza hacer un vídeo de esa cosa.
Yeah, so kind of again, similar to how you or how it works in the Chaos Endgame itself. Archaon has a similar system, so the more of the world that he destroys, the more powerful Archaon.
Qué guapo, loco, eso.
So this is kind of,
o sea, cada vez que va destruyendo ciudades, va reduciendo mantenimiento de todos los ejércitos, más acción especial y no va a tiempo de leer más. Me cago en la hostia. Pero un 2%, ¿no? Muy chulo.
You will need it. Because it is, especially when you're... I found now that with Archaon, because I'm spending a lot more time confederating all of these lords, I'm going around effectively doing side quests, right? Because I'm spending so long doing that, when actually it comes to triggering it, I am usually in a weaker position than I have been in previous campaigns with Archaon, because if I know that that's the victory condition I'm going for, I'm actually very thematically setting up the lords that I want to be with me during my own endgame. So it's been an interesting experience of like, turn 70, I'd expect to own all of this, right? But honestly, Arb will give me such a hard time for the first
diciendo gran cosa ahora mismo.
He has so many Chaos Warriors of Khorne. But that meant that now that I've triggered it, it does feel like effectively a reset on my game. Like I'm in the second stage where I've got to try and somehow take out the
Pero creo que debería poder conquistar también la fortaleza oscura. No me gusta que eso sea arrasar todo. Creo que tendría que haber una probabilidad de que... mira, Glockin.
We'll start declaring war more and more as they encounter me. Also, a little preview of someone else there. Am I still able to confederate people while I'm now in this endgame situation?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
Okay, there you go. Someone will have to find that out when you play.
I'd assume so, because it doesn't look like it.
Por ejemplo, ahora mismo, si quisiera atacar Prague, solo podía arrasarlo, no puedo ocuparlo.
Or if you do destroy
Esa es la putada.
You get the ability to. So, right now we are all going to see. Oh, I think I quick saved it, so I wouldn't have to worry about not being attacked. We'll be able to show off one of the devastation battle maps.
Cool.
Bueno, el mapa que vamos a mapa de batalla de devastación. Bueno, con devastación, perdón.
Another small thing to mention. Sigvald.
Yes.
Should we talk about him?
Can do.
So yeah, Sigvald.
¿Qué pasa con Sigvald?
This has been constant feedback from players, you guys, since basically the release of like Warhammer 3, I think, where we introduced Slaanesh, obviously. and players wanted Sigvald to be part of Slaanesh. So we've made that change. Finally, players can stop asking us to do it. And yeah, he's part of the Slaanesh kind of.
Que ahora sí vaya no es del caos barra Slaanesh, ahora es del Slaanesh.
Seduction mechanic and such.
Yep.
Kind of just like how you'd expect from other lords, part of Slaanesh. So, yeah, our boy Sigvald is.
Qué raro como el despliegue, ¿no? De los dos.
Where he should be.
I did not check this army to see if there were any units I couldn't show, and those are black.
Sí.
Can you tell?
Hostias, el mapa, ¿no? Qué guapo.
So yeah, very.
Oh, hold on. Has the stream gone down? Someone's asked if we've crashed. We didn't crash.
But did the stream crash?
He wasn't allowed to show those knights. Okay. Oh, saved. We're back.
We're back.
I don't know. Honestly, this stream is the most cursed tech stream I've ever done. So, it's a devastated battle map.
Devastated. Yeah, so.
Espero que no sea un mapa solamente devastado nada más.
From what we showed of the devastation on the campaign map. Very much themed on that for each of the devastation.
Como se repite todo el rato, va a ser aburrido lo
siguiente. The chaos ones, you've got the destruction, the terrain, torn apart, lava, corruption, all of that kinds. And yeah, there's loads of different kinds of maps for each of the devastation types as well.
Yep.
So yeah, you can expect loads of different.
Luego siempre bienvenido que haya nuevos mapas.
And they are the lava as well, looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice and slow. I don't think I'll fight this battle because that's then just 15 minutes of me
losing probably as well. It's half your army's dead.
Hey, look! It's wow, that is.
You would lose.
That doesn't look good for me. I mean, I've got a level 49 RK on.
Okay.
I think. It really feels like you've.
Esta batalla, no, por favor.
I shouldn't. We haven't got the time.
No, it's fine.
Do you know what? If we can just tell everyone that after the stream I played it and won it, I would feel pretty good about that.
We'll give them an update next stream.
Gracias.
He could take him single-handedly. And Harold will get there just as the battle's ended on foot. Right, we'll boot into pre-endgame. Doesn't really matter, does it?
Doesn't matter.
Cool. We'll show the warbands, and then I think we are pretty much there.
Yeah.
We'll see if it. Do you know what? Did it crash on a loading screen last time?
Oh, maybe it did because this is when we were coming in.
What if I do that?
Yeah.
Then maybe somehow
it doesn't crash.
It doesn't crash. So we'll see.
To be clear, it's the stream crashing, not the game.
Yes.
Just to defend the game.
Yeah, the game's been absolutely fine. Especially seeing as this is you'll see like a lot of the stuff we were doing was there was a lot of placeholder text. This is just a daily from a few days ago. This wasn't a specific one. All right. I think we're alive.
We're alive.
So.
Warbands. So yeah, if you go into the, I guess the corn ones.
¿Qué cambia aquí? Se quiere ¿no?
Yeah, Wrathmongers.
Pero claro, eso es DLC. Ahí ya. Eso no DLC justamente no lo tengo yo. No sé si hay algo nuevo ahí o no. De los Wrathmongers. Que imagino que sí, ¿no?
There's probably things that me and Josh have forgotten.
Yes.
During the.
Pues están diciendo eso, ¿no? Que no estaba antes.
I mean, it was fun to explore and play it. I mean, people have noticed, obviously, the victory conditions are new. And now my long victory condition has changed to represent the one that I picked. Reach faction strength number 1. Cool. I'm going to have a fight with our girlfriends on my own.
Pues sí que no estaban. Vale.
But these are all new. So like now I've got these items, new items. Yeah. Very cool to see. But that will be for every faction. And this is what I mean of like, there's just too much for us to be able to show off in a couple of streams. Cool. Drag the dev in charge of Archaon onto the stream. I believe they're on holiday today, so that would be very cool of us.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that is pretty much everything we have. There are some. I mean, people have said there are still quite a lot of questions about Sigvald. I've not tried to boot Sigvald on this build, but I assume.
Por ejemplo, a mí de Chara no me ha hecho muchas gracias.
Series, why not?
De Tamurka estaba bien.
But only because there have been.
Y el de los 4 guerreros del caos.
Someone asked if Archaon got an.
Ahí, la verdad. Me gustó más.
We've just unloaded from
it.
It's fine. We don't have to cover.
I've just clicked continue campaign.
¿Cómo se llama? El rework que hicieron del caos, que eso fue lo que más me hipeó, que el DLC. Por cierto, los content que estos DCA ya han probado los Total War 50.000. El Ultra se le escapó.
I mean, that's not the point.
It's not the point.
Yo no sé si podré siquiera jugar ese juego. Me gustaría, pero no sé si podré. Porque mi chatarra PC
But we can check the skill
creo que explotaría.
Neither do I.
So, but
this is one of the funny things about this is one of the biggest projects we've ever done.
Sí, yo diría que sí, que mejor fue tan
bacán.
El que más me llamó la atención.
For like 10 months. So like I'm gonna be like players probably know more about.
Es verdad, Skull Taker me acordaba de él. Skull Taker salió rotísimo, por eso a mí me gustó mucho.
I mean, I booted a Nagash playthrough for the first time this morning.
Yeah.
So we'll all be, next week will be Glockin, so we'll all explore it together. So there we go, we showed the skill tree. Up to you to work out if that was reworked or not. There is so much and it wasn't in our notes. Right, I'm going back to here just in case it crashes the stream. Okay, let's get Sigvald. And then...
Oh, a ver. El stream se les crasha a esta gente otra vez. Again.
We are. He'll be...
Slanesh. No.
He'll be Warriors of Chaos.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Han vuelto bien.
So,
there you go. Slanesh.
There he is.
Sigvald. And yeah, can seduce units. Like I said, so he's got the seduction system.
Oh, it did crash again. Every time the game loads, it weirdly crashes. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
They couldn't even see the screen.
Yeah, so
el nuevo de Sigvald.
Slanesh. What more?
Después espacio todo eso.
As I mentioned, he's got the seduction system, which is that's one of the really.
Ya puede seducir unidades ya.
So yeah, there you go. Not much more to say than that, but yeah, I think players will be happy.
O sea que ya sí o sí ya esto, como decirlo, de Slanesh al 100%.
Yes,
Sigvald.
that is, I think everything major that we had to cover. But we will have patch notes. We're going to start compiling those patch notes soon. There is so much to go into them.
Yeah.
So please forgive us if little things are missed off. But yeah, it's just been an immense amount of work to go into this update. And then the siege rework we have for 9.1, not 9.0.
Pero bueno, se dio.
But that is,
al 9.1.
I believe, everything that we have to discuss. I can see people want me to click on Glockin. I'm not going to do it.
Venga, clica en Glockin.
Alright, well, thank you very much for joining us, Mitch.
Yeah.
This was enlightening and devastating and...
Sí, la verdad es que sí. Ahora cambia un PC tocho de ruina.
But appreciate you coming on. We won't see you again for the rest of the streams. Or at least I haven't...
Y yo uno medio incluso. Ni siquiera hace falta que sea tocho.
Never know, but...
I'll be a backup, it's fine.
You be on the sofas.
Like I said, I've not loaded into even some of these characters myself, so I'm excited to play when it comes out myself.
Yes.
It's rare that I've been able to say that, so...
And a big thank
También
you
ha cambiado la intro de Sigvald, ¿no? Me estoy fijando.
For those, a thank you to Mitch from everyone in the chat for being here and joining us.
Yeah.
So next week we will have Glockin, at least that's the plan. It may swap, but that's the plan for now. But tomorrow we have our Alpha Strike, which will be us showing the Gamescom build for Warhammer 40,000. That'll be on the sofas, so I'm going to have to move that massive piece of armor.
Mañana en la Gamescom tenemos Warhammer 40.000 y pasado mañana Glockin. Uy, pasado mañana, carajo, ojalá. La semana que viene Glockin tendremos.
Bye bye.
Okay. Y listo, pues vamos a hacer el resumen para YouTube. Vamos a ver.